How do I get this filming? How do I... Wait, hang on, is it already filming? Oh shit. Wow. What a lovely day it is today. You know, maybe I think I could go outside, see the world, meet new people, enjoy what few days I have outside of exams. Or I could sit inside and talk about the absolute piss-dribbling shit show that is Avengers Infinity War. But I think who's anyone, or oh fuck, that sentence got away. Anyone who's anyone knows just how subpar Avengers Infinity War really is, so I don't think I have to go in and do that whatsoever. So I'm glad someone else has finally done my job for me. Alright, let's get it out of our systems down in the comments section before we go any further. I'm gay, my channel's gay, I have a stupid opinion, my penis is small, England will never win the World Cup, etc, etc. And once you've finished hyperventilating long enough to hear me form a coherent sentence, let me just clear things up once and for all. I thought Avengers Infinity War reached the spectacularly dizzying heights of being basically okay. Which, seeing how I treat most of the films I've seen like the steadily growing mound of blue tack I've got stuck to the bottom of my school shoes, is a bit of a departure from tradition. No, it's not exactly the response of the century when compared to gleaming 5-star ratings from wealthy online reviewers and full-time millionaire YouTubers who all secretly wish they were dead, but I really failed to see anything that was so orgasm-inducingly good about it. In the lead up to its release, no one I hung around with could seemingly shut up about it for longer than 5 minutes, gushing from every orifice as they wondered just who would reach their unfortunate end in this bone-crushing finale to the Marvel Cinematic Universe's 10-year climax. Obviously I couldn't care less, which I immediately got shit for. It was the usual slew of intelligent counter-arguments such as, well, you just hate Marvel, or, when you go see it I will laugh at how you found it good despite your predetermined hatred of Marvel. But just put down your prayer bead shaped like Captain America's firm left buttock for a minute and let me remind you that the only reason Marvel even owns these characters anymore, let alone make a quote-unquote cinematic universe with them, is because they were too daft for any other countries to even take for free in the first place. That's what made these films such hits. It was the directors and the actors and the amount of dedication put into them and making something old and outdated into something fresh and new, not Marvel's revival of old World War II propaganda. I'm still not comfortable with saying cinematic universe though. I always tend to pronounce it the same way one would say atomic holocaust. Welcoming, yes, but at the same time it's bound to have some pretty unsavoury after effects if it doesn't end up immediately killing you. But I digress. Let's not spend 5 whole minutes boggling at Marvel alone. What you really want to know is my list of reasons as to why I wasn't cacking my pants with excitement for 3 hours straight. Promptly ignore those reasons and then beat me up with your army of lobotomized fanboys tomorrow morning. The plot is surprisingly uncomplicated. Big bad space daddy Thanos wants his magical chaos emeralds, ice gems, infinity stones to power his shiny new gauntlet, a piece of armor powerful enough to level the entire universe because aren't they fucking always. However, in his path stands the entirety of Marvel's merchandise lineup, including Captain America, Thor, Hulk and a bunch of others I can't be bothered to mention. You may remember from my previous review of Black Panther where I made the firm point that anything that spews from Marvel's mouth nowadays may only ever seem outstanding just because it's vaguely watchable when compared to Fox or the DC Universe's latest gritfest. Well, it is very creative in the visuals, I'll give it that, not to mention that the fight scenes are rather fun. Oh, alright, I try to be nice, but I guess there's no point in letting that remotely positive comment slip by. I can hear you all snivelling already. Come on, Morgoo, we all know there's a big but coming after this. So just be aware that from this point on, we're making a left turn onto Spoiler Avenue. Just go see it first if you really give that much of a fuck. Trust me when I say you're not going to lose sleep over it unless you're a victim of the Marvel-branded lobotomy process. Now where was I? Oh yeah, the big bad crux of the matter, Thanos. He's come down to the planet, thus posing a new threat to mankind. By a new threat, I mean the exact same threat as always. He wants to dominate the Earth and cause untold destruction. Except this time, instead of it being British God of Mischief or James Spader's Robocop, it's Purple Shrek with a ball sack for a chin. It's basically the same plot as the last 2 Avengers movies. Doesn't this seem familiar to anyone? Seemingly, quote, overpowered villain that requires an entire band of superheroes to stop him? A dangerous weapon that can cause hither unknown amounts of carnage? The only real difference between this movie and basically every other superhero movie ever is the fact that the bad guy wins at the end. Also, a lot of main characters die off in the process. Oh no, I'm sorry, I meant a lot of main characters died the end, but don't worry, it's a truly inevitable fashion. No, really, goes the movie, wringing its hands in panic. We'd love to show these apparently inevitable deaths over the course of the whole 3-hour viewing, rather than let the trainee editor go crazy with the particle fade effect just before the credits roll, but we don't really have enough time or plot to go around. These actors gotta get paid though, so just weep over Tom Hiddlestone's death for the next 2.5 hours and we'll see what we can whip up. Here are another few sarcastic quips from Rocket Raccoon to keep you from falling asleep. But maybe the deaths were more of an afterthought, which thus meant the writers had to stretch the reason why they were so, quote, inevitable. Which would be more understandable, of course. Not exactly entertaining, mind you, but understandable, as to why seemingly every character in this film suddenly has mashed parsnip for cognitive thought rather than a brain. Doctor Strange apparently swore a vow to protect one of the candy rocks, Infinity Stones, from Thanos, but then willingly just hands it over to him in exchange for Iron Man's life, despite both of them hating each other for essentially most of the movie. There's one instance. But the biggest fuck you in the whole movie comes from Star-Lord, who, after learning that Thanos has killed Gamora, you know this review will go by a lot faster if you don't keep pausing to Google up just who these characters are, goes absolutely stir-crazy and accidentally causes Thanos to break free of the trap all the other Guardians of the Galaxy have him in, doom half the planet to shit. Great going. In short, this film is fairly stock standard. There's nothing really new. None of the character deaths are effective. I mean, who the fuck did the executives think would cry over Vision's death? He's basically one of the worst characters in the entire series. Oh, I'm sorry, the cinematic universe. The villain's one of the most boring characters I've ever seen. There, I said it. You waited for a decade just to see the most generic world-destroying type ever with a backstory you're supposed to sympathise with and asked to make him more human. The only problem is, A, he isn't human, and B, he wants to end half of all the life in the universe. You cannot possibly get anyone to relate to this. It's like trying to calm down your mum after you've just chucked up over a best rug by saying, hey, at least I only covered half of it in vomit. It's easily the worst film I've seen so far this year. Not so much for what it is in itself, but the corporation it represents. It isn't a movie, it's a product that has insanely large amounts of money thrown at it like a particularly rich strip club. Hopefully the studio executives, bunch of shoeshine money whores, will take this as a sign to maybe lay off the upcoming superhero blockbusters for just a little while until they become a bit more original again. Oh, son of a bitch.